On a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist?
Pause. There you go. I did not say who could be the Antichrist. He repeated it to her.
Yeah.
That's not, I didn't say he's the Antichrist. I asked a question. No, it's... I did not say, could he be the Antichrist?
I believe he goes on to say those words never left my mouth.
Those words never left my mouth. Here is Tucker Carlson, his latest New York Times interview, where he just flat out, and I know what people will say, you're taking it out of context. No, I'm not. Go watch the whole interview.
No.
Go watch the whole interview. Tucker Carlson flat out says that he didn't say things he did say in context. So Saturday, New York Times, very rarely do I think that the New York Times does a good job. In this case, they held his feet to the fire in a way that if I were to do an interview with the New York Times, and I have, I would be prepared. I would ready myself for where they might try and hold me accountable. Sometimes they might try and hold me accountable, rightfully so, and sometimes they might be misleading. And I have to, in my mind, go through inventory, go, okay, what do I think they're going to use? To me, what stood out is just how woefully ill-prepared Tucker Carlson was. Like, it almost seemed surprising to him that this was a hostile interview. You should know that going in. Maybe he's been in an echo chamber for too long. So here is just the setup. New York Times interview, Tucker Carlson this weekend.
I'm Lulu Garcia-Navarro, and I'm in Maine to interview Tucker Carlson. For many years, Carlson was one of President Trump's most vocal supporters. But recently, Carlson has publicly broken with Trump. He's not only come out against Trump's decision to go to war with Iran, he now says he regrets supporting the president.
We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be.
And has become a vocal and influential critic of the administration.
There's also something really telling in this interview. I don't have a clip. But he said, that's what happens when you're around Trump. There's like a trance almost, and I've fallen into it and wondered, wow, what happened? Yeah, he was there. He was at the White House. He's gone to the dinners. He's gone to the UFC events. We have not. So we didn't go from all in cult worship to Donald Trump to all out. He's potentially the Antichrist. And by the way, framing something as a question doesn't allow you to evade responsibility for the statement if you repeatedly bake it. So we've been consistently right here going, okay, he does this well, he does this probably poorly, or this was a bad decision. Tucker went from 100 pro to 100 no. That to me is not an organic development of your principles. In other words, when you see someone change their mind, because I agree, if someone is incorrect in the face of new information, you go, well, now taking this into account, I modify my stance. Not a 180 on everything. That's where it seems disingenuous. So here he is being confronted on the implication, the question in context that Trump is the Antichrist, and he flat out says he never said it. And then, of course, the goalposts will be moved. He did, and he just lies.
You've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist?
Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows?
I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one, I actually tried to understand it.
Not
I may
hard.
have said some are asking that. I'm not weighing in on that because I don't understand it.
So Toolman have the goalpost move. So I want to go back. So as you prepare that to that clip, here's the thing. People have now moved the goalposts. And they've gone, well, he didn't say it. He asked it. Okay. In that clip, he says, when confronted with the exact quote, making it very clear that he asked, could Trump be the Antichrist? In context, he said, I never asked, could Trump be the Antichrist? He said that quote didn't happen. Don't move the goalpost. It's not about the question. He's faced with the quote and says, I didn't say it. Play that again.
You've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist?
Pause. There you go. I did not say who could be the Antichrist. He repeated it to her.
Yeah.
That's not, I didn't say he's the Antichrist. I asked a question. No, it's, I did not say, could he be the Antichrist?
I believe he goes on to say those words never left
Those
my
words never left my mouth.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm interviewing my kids about who started the fight.
Right.
I never called her a poopy head.
Right.
I never said that.
Well, in
Here it
other
is
words,
on an S-cam.
He's not sharp enough. And this is why he avoids voices of opposition. If someone, let's say, took an outrageous quote, and said, you called Christine Blasey Ford a, quote, lying whore. That was one that got a lot of outrage. Yeah. I would say, I don't remember saying that. Did I just say that? Just definitively made the statement she's a lying whore? And then they would play it, and I would go, oh, well, it was a joke about how the authorities are still considering that she is perhaps, quote, a lying whore. So that was the joke. That was the context regarding the authorities. But if you take that as a declarative statement, then, okay, I could see I'd be offended, but it was a crafted joke, and I stand by it.
Yeah.
If it was me, and I actually had asked the question and didn't believe it, I would say, no, I did not definitively state, could you play that? No. Oh, I asked the question that some people are asking that. He just flat out says, I didn't say it, and then moves the goalpost and goes, and I don't understand. I'm not a theologian, and that absolves him of responsibility. That's his MO.
And it was 2 weeks-ish prior. It's not like she went back in the catalog 2 years ago on something you don't remember. And I understand sometimes you don't always remember everything that you say on air. That happens to us all the time. But something that big, that's almost like the question of the day, or it's the lead into a story, something that you would say like that. Could this guy be the Antichrist? And you went through a litany of reasons why you think maybe that's a valid question to ask after learning all of this information. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem like something that would be easy to forget.
And let me ask you, if you trust him, okay, now apply this going forward. Mm-hmm. Let's say you trust him where, he didn't swear in the Bible. He's mocking our God. He's mocking our God of gods. Could this be the Antichrist? And you go forward, you go, look, have you heard this? And he didn't swear in the Bible. And you present that opinion.
Right.
And it's based on the man who goes, oh, wait a second, I didn't mean any of that because I'm not a theologian. You can't base your information or your opinions on someone who will never answer for it, who says, well, I didn't say that. Well, how can you use any of the information to equip yourself? You can't, because he'll run away from it.
Yeah. And also, I don't know who the Antichrist is. I know he was saying he's moving the goalposts a little bit on that too. There are incredibly specific attributes of the Antichrist. And so what he's doing is he's trying to play a game even with that. Even with that alone, he's like, well, of course, I don't know who he is. There's all this stuff. And I was like, yes, but you do understand there are a lot of attributes that are listed of the Antichrist. It won't be confusing.
It's not a guessing game.
No, it'll be pretty clear. And Trump does not meet several of those. Several, at least.
Yeah.
And so you can clearly go, okay, well, he is playing a game right now. He's saying, well, no one really knows, right? Maybe there's many, who knows? But is Trump the Antichrist because he wouldn't put his hand on the Bible?
Yeah. Well, this brings us to his next one. And I know people will move the goalposts. Now, by the way, I don't agree with the approach of the interviewer here. I interviewed Nick Fuentes. I would do it again. I thought it was productive. I thought we got some important questions, and I think that it's been a great clarifier as far as our differences. And I think that Nick Fuentes would probably tell you that him and I don't share the same views as far as being conservative. So I think you're allowed to interview whoever you want. Tucker walks it back, but he lies, or at least, no, he lies while walking it back. Here.
I wish I hadn't done the Fuentes interview because...
Really?
Yeah, it was totally not worth it. I mean, it was like kind of interesting, I guess. But it was used as, I added to the distraction. What I really wanted to talk about was where we were going in this war with Iran. And I spent like a month getting calls from people being like, "You're a Nazi." Okay. And I wish I hadn't done that.
It's not because of that interview.
It didn't imperil my soul. I've interviewed far worse people than Nick Fuentes.
He said where we are going with this war with Iran. Well, remember, his interview with Nick Fuentes went up October 27th, 2025. The Iran war started February 28th, 2026. Now, I know what people will say. People will say, well, no, he meant, because there's a sort of proxy. We had done the military strike against their facilities.
Yeah, the airstrikes.
And so, Iran, and I searched the transcripts, you guys can, it only came up once. Once. In other words, there'd be nothing precluding him. He also sat down, Nick told us about this, with Nick Fuentes for dinner for, I think, 2 or 3 hours beforehand. Throughout the entire interview, the only reference to Iran I could find was Iran is not as big of a threat to us as OnlyFans. So now you move the goal. This war with Iran. Of course, someone would take that at face value. Well, this current war with Iran. Also, Nick Fuentes was on this very show in that time frame. And he said that I actually think it's an entirely reasonable perspective. He said, you and I might be more aligned on the strike against the Iranian facility than people would know. Remember that?
Yeah.
He said that. So that's actually not the conversation that was taking place. He just dodges and then moves the goalposts.
Move the goalposts.
How can you rely on someone like that?
Yeah. And it's also a consistency issue, right? So when you interview people, you have a pretty consistent interview style. You're going to match intensity and you're going to give them a fair shake to address a lot of issues. You did that with Dave Smith. You've done it with everybody you've had on that could potentially be somewhat combative.
Sure.
Right? If they come in hot on topics that, you go back at them hot, fine. That's not what Tucker does. And I think that's why there were questions asked. Whether they're fair or not, you can make that decision. But he went after people that he disagreed with. He does that all the time. He doesn't go after people he agrees with. He does that all the time. So when you now put Nick Fuentes right in the middle of that, that's why people were asking him, hey, your history is to go after, you're very good at going after people. You went after Mike Huckabee. You went after Ted Cruz. You had no problem doing that. And then you're very good at people you agree with, just having conversations. Daryl Cooper, Dave Smith, all those guys that have gone on there. Fantastic. Now put Nick in there.
Yeah.
It's not like it was devoid of context.
No.
And it may not be true that you agree with everything. That's fine too. But people are asking legitimate questions based on your
I actually would go one step further. I think he did Nick dirty. And what I mean by that is he sat down. Right. They had had conflict before that. He had been talking crap about Nick Fuentes with Candace.
And he said he didn't even know who he was.
He said he was a Fed, that he didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Invited him out, has dinner with him, then does the interview where it's incredibly friendly, and then talks crap about him after he left. I would just say that's unethical. Hey, if you have a problem, hash out the problem.
Talk about it.
Nick and I had a portion that was friendly, and then we had a portion that was, quite a bit more tense. And he said it was fair. Same thing with Dave Smith.
Same thing.
Reverse. Tense, and then we had friendly. There's nothing that I hold against Dave Smith or Nick Fuentes that you don't know about, that they don't know about when I spoke with them. Tucker doesn't confront them with the information. He has them on, puts on a front, and then gossips behind their back. Well, why don't you talk with Nick Fuentes about Iran then, aside from the reference to OnlyFans? All he does is move the goalposts and lie. And people can do that and be entertaining. The issue is with people who actually think this is a reliable source of information. And you can choose to do that, but I just would recommend that you fact check him as often as possible. He lies as easily as he breathes. For example, he published this graph online in relation to his show's ratings. Comparing it to all these other shows, saying he gets over 50 million views per episode. You just make that up. You just make that up per episode. Wow. That would be more than the Super Bowl every single show. And this isn't sour grapes. I can tell you that's not true. As a matter of fact, unless there's some new breaking controversy, he doesn't actually have that many people who tune into his live show. If you mean 2-second or half-a-second timeline scrolls, okay, that's something different. So bring that back up. It's 50 million views per episode. Bring it back up. Yeah. Well, you know what? I will tell you this, though. Good thing, if you're just going to lie about it, good thing you didn't show the whole graph. There you go. 550 billion.
Wow, who knew?
Better luck next time, sport.
It's impressive.
Don't ask for my methodology.
No, it's in real fine print at the bottom.
And do you think that perhaps he's maybe? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a theologian. Perhaps he's possessed by an ancient Babylonian spirit. I mean, you don't have a demon attack you in your sleep and nothing come of it. It doesn't just up and leave. Based on my limited understanding history of demons, I don't know. I'm just asking that question.
Do you think the presence of evil is kickstarting people to wonder about the good?
That's what happened to me.
That's what happened to you?
Oh yeah, I had a direct experience with it.
In the milieu of journalism, or just
Nope, in my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled.
It wasn't a dog.
Those dogs suck, man.
By a demon?
Yeah, by a demon.
Take out that demon?
Or by something unseen that left
Is that right?
claw marks on my sides, on my...
So it left physical marks.
Oh, they're still there. Yeah.
Let's
A
see
year and a
it.
half ago.
Pop that top off.
He could have marks from something else there too.
Yeah, his 4 dogs.
And he was high on ayahuasca.
It's just weird.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
I was in bed with my 4 dogs and
my wife.
4 dogs, and I have no idea how I got claw marks. Do dogs have claws?
Or maybe it's just a scar from where they extracted his soul.
Yeah, it could be.
The
But we
real
just-
marks left behind was Carl.
Right, yeah. We just skim past it. Like, is it possible? I don't know. I know that demons don't typically just show up once, claw you, and then leave.
I'd be doing something different if that happened. I'd sell the cabin at the very least.
Yeah,
and
I
move
wouldn't be
somewhere
there.
else.
You try something.
It's just there are stories like that kind of strain credibility, and then there are stories that, and she even asked in this interview later on about his support for Trump, like he went out and supported him, and he's now morphed his response into, I supported Trump because he was going to protect Christians. You see this alignment of the idea is like, oh, it's about protecting Christians. And it fits into a lot of other narratives that we've talked about, and a lot of other narratives online that are used against Israel or used against the United States in previous wars, and how we chose to target different cities and things like that. But that's what he's now saying. And she's like, well, you actually had some texts that came out in this Dominion lawsuit. I believe it was Dominion that sued Fox, that said you hated Donald Trump. So which is it? Like, how can you help us understand where you are now?
Yeah.
And you know that he's not a Christian. You said that in this interview, and yet you were pissed off because he used the F word on Easter, and you took that as a direct affront against Christians, that a naughty word was used on Easter. Not the best idea in the world, but certainly it was not an attack on Christianity.
Also, tell me how you're protecting Christianity by legalizing black tar heroin. When I used to be there at Red Eye and on Fox News, he was a libertarian who the drug war was a failure, therefore legalize all drugs, let people do whatever they want. So long as it doesn't affect me, let people do whatever they want. It's very different from a traditional Christian conservative worldview. It changes about every 6 or 7 years. It's like he's like Madonna. He just reinvents himself. Oh, you're still here, which is a miracle in the age of Instagram and shorts. I think you have some shorts up there. You have an attention span that is longer than that of a fruit gnat. So thank you. I'm glad you probably would like it a lot more if you actually head over and subscribe on Rumble. I'm live there 5 days a week, 11 a.m. Eastern, where free speech is still alive. Go to Rumble. Get off the social media ghetto that is YouTube, with a lot of homosexual activity here on YouTube. There may be some on Rumble, but I haven't seen it.